As Jeff Lawton says, the time to chop and drop is when precipitation exceeds evaporation. If you don't understand what that means, well, fountain. I was reading a book on food forests last night, and I came across a part where the author was talking. The author is Danny Baker. I'll put a link to her book. But the author was talking about how there's multiple ways to put together a food forest. There are 3 ways to address the ground cover layer in a food forest planting. If you have a small plot, you can plant all the layers, including the ground cover, at once. In a larger plot, you can do the same thing in sections. Sheet mulch or otherwise prepare one manageable area at a time, plant that area completely, and then proceed to the next section. Depending on the size of your plot, it may take you several weeks, months, or even years to execute your entire garden plan. I chose a third approach. I first planned and planted the entire overstory and understory layers of my forest garden. Next, I incorporated the shrub layer, and finally I added in the herbaceous and ground cover layers. As I write this manuscript, I am still completing the final step by creating planting beds around existing trees and shrubs. By sheet mulching 1 or more new sections each year and incorporating ground covers there during the following growing seasons, I am covering the ground with an ever-expanding blanket of intended plants. What once seemed like a Herculean task is made possible by breaking the work down into manageable parts. There's multiple ways to put together a food forest. Planting it all at once, doing it in little pieces that are planned together, or just basically getting your canopy and your long-term shrubs together and then working in between them. And that third method is the way I like. I got a lot of canopy trees in this food forest, and then I shoved a few shrubs in between them. I put in some ground covers and some pumpkins and some other things. But the main scaffold of it is there, those long-term trees. But right now, our lawnmower is broken, so you can see I'm not mowing the pathways. And it's just been raining, multiple weeks of rain. We had drought this spring, followed by multiple weeks of rain. And when it gets like that, it's time to chop and drop. So when it's raining more than it's evaporating, that's what Jeff Lawton was talking about, it's the time to drop material on the ground and build up the soil. And if there's anything we need here in Lower Alabama in our sand, it's some building up of the soil. The organic matter naturally is not very high here. So anything, these goldenrod, this mimosa, that mimosa, all of those things right there can go and feed our long-term trees like this chestnut. So we can slash and cut and throw those things on the ground, and they're doing the work just as if we had planted some on purpose. They may not be as thick or fix as much nitrogen, etc., but it works. And that's what we're gonna do today. The mosquitoes are unbelievable this year, and my wife and I just had our latest baby, so I don't have a camera woman. So I'm gonna hold this camera and then chop with this machete, this Tramontina that I took, actually my daughter took from the shop and left out in the yard. So I'm gonna use this Tramontina. Here we go. Oh yeah, that's very satisfying. And all we gotta do is come through here, slash this stuff up, and we can take it and throw it to this chestnut right here. And because Dramamine inducing videos of this happening are probably not the best YouTube content, I'll slash some stuff up and I'll lay it down and you can see how we lay it out. You've seen me chop and drop before, I just wanted to do it again. I let these mimosa trees grow on purpose. They seed themselves. I don't plant them on purpose because they're a pain in the neck. They grow very fast, but they make a lot of nitrogen. So this tree is gonna get fed to that chestnut, but I'm gonna cut it up here, not down here. I'm gonna cut it up here instead. So we've got a good bit of mimosas and goldenrod and dog fennel and all kinds of stuff, and this guy can breathe again. You can also see that the wisteria was trying to climb up here and take this thing over again. So those are gone. And then back here, I've got this Tithonia diversifolia sunflower, which grows back repeatedly. It accumulates phosphorus, but it also chases out nematodes. Sam Singleton at the Scrubland Farms Nursery was telling me they've been making tea out of Tithonia diversifolia and then just letting it rot down in water for a few weeks. You can pour it on a bed that's infested with nematodes, and he's seen cases where the nematodes actually just completely disappear. Like the root knots stop and disappear from plants that have been getting destroyed. So that's another benefit for this plant, but it's also a good chop and drop. We've got this great big mimosa up here. That one's coming down, and we'll find a tree to feed it to because this chestnut's getting plenty of love today, and I've got to spread the love around to something else. Maybe this peach over here. This peach has a blueberry next to it. This is a rabbit eye blueberry, and the blueberry is surrounded by wild mint. I wish we had smell-o-vision because I started cutting this down right here, and it smells amazing. But if you look under here, we've got lots of blueberries right now. One of my kids was out here picking them a minute ago, but the mosquitoes chased him inside. Really bad today. If you're in lower Alabama or the Florida Panhandle where we are, blueberries make a lot of sense, particularly the rabbit eye blueberries. They like the acid soil, they're native to the area. They don't take the work of the southern high bush types. A little higher chill hours, but they're extremely long lasting plants. We don't spray them, we don't do anything. You can stick them in your yard, give them a little bit of mulch or something and let them run. Obviously, you can see we don't do much to care for this one other than knocking the weeds down and around it occasionally and then doing a little bit of chop and drop. But it gives you good fruit a little later in the year. There's not those huge watery blue ones like you get from the store, but they are very, very good. And I've seen these trees get, 10 to 15 foot, like a tree, not like a shrub. But you can keep them pruned too. Pretty plants. Really good to put up next to your house if you wanted a little bit of edible landscaping, or just stick them as part of the understory in the food forest where they can take about half sun and still produce berries just fine. You can almost take care of my entire food forest with just a decent machete. Chopped and dropped mimosa here, and Tithonia diversifolia, and some popcorn trees that showed up, and some wild mint and goldenrod and everything else. And we're building that organic layer. I have to stop every once in a while for the rain because it's coming through in bands right now. The important part is to take care of those canopy trees and keep them from getting overrun by vines and everything else. Just keep slashing all that stuff down, give them some breathing room, and then let all the work those weeds did work for them. I've got some little plum seedlings right here that I'm leaving alone that are eventually going to fight with this chestnut, but it's kind of cool. And you can see, previously chop and drop layers here, compost we threw out here, there's some chicken bones. Starts to make a spongy layer there. And at this time of year when everything is just out of control, it's great to come out when it's rainy and just chop and drop and throw all that fertility on the ground. Now, if I really could get it together and get like a dump truck full of mulch, this is a little island right here, I've got a blackberry over there, a fig over there, the plums, and the chestnut right here. This area is where we pulled out the wisteria last year, and if I could just throw down multiple layers of cardboard, cover this whole thing with mulch, then I could plant it up really well and get the production way up. Right now I'm just kind of waiting on the trees to produce, but if I had a little more time and I had the resources to just get a ton of mulch, I would do that. But what we're doing now is we're just letting nature fill in all those gaps that she wants to fill in, and then slashing it all and throwing it on the ground. So the soil is building up around these canopy trees, but I could really easily, if I had the mulch, crush this whole area of briars and everything down right to the ground, throw a big layer of sheet mulch over it, and then turn this into a high producing garden area in a quick period of time. So if I can ever get Chip Drop to stop by and give us some, or if there's somebody that's an arborist in the area that could drop a ton of it, that would be great. But I was talking to my friend Mark the other day, and he said there's a place where you can go pick up mulch, but you've got to fork it into your truck yourself. And I was thinking, yeah, I could fill up the bed of the pickup truck from the shop with a bunch of mulch, and then, you know, drive 30 minutes to go get it, fill the bed, come back, dump it out. But I have to do that about 3 times for an area even this size. And this is a big food forest space. So we're just doing chop and drop for now, unless we can get some dump trucks, and then we would be on. Beneath this Japanese persimmon tree right here, we've done a lot of chop and drop. There's a bunch of these dewberry vines that are coming through here, so it's not very pleasant to put your hands in it. But you can see how the soil has gotten richer and darker, and it's full of material. There's rotten wood in here. We just threw logs and chunks and everything we could get in here, and the tree is looking really good. It's always bearing fruit. We had a late frost this year that took some of the fruit, but we're still gonna get a decent amount. So this tree really likes it. It's like a little island of fertility around it that's better than the grass outside of it, and just full of organic matter, and all those little insects in there and worms that are chewing it up. The fungi that are in there are building it up. As you can see, this taro plant right here is very happy in that, just thriving on it, and that tree is looking pretty good too. Earlier in the year, we planted this Napier grass right here. Fast-growing tropical grass, makes a huge amount of biomass, and it was tiny, and now it's really starting to take off. That's gonna go to this beef and onion tree, Tuna sinensis. And then this is a tree daisy, which we're experimenting with this year. We're gonna see if it lives and comes back. I'm gonna leave this one alone to just grow, and we'll see if it survives. This Japanese persimmon right here also has the Napier grass next to it, and I think I could probably cut that right now and let it fill in. And then this coral bean that we planted is fixing nitrogen. I'm not gonna cut this one back, but it did make seeds this year, and I have the seeds germinating right now at the shop. I'm gonna grow some out to sell them because it's a really pretty native that is also a nitrogen fixer and a hummingbird attractor, which is cool. This is Enterolobium, probably Cyclocarpum or Corticiquium. This one's looking pretty good. I'm curious if this is going to live here and be a dieback perennial, or if it's just gonna die. So I'm leaving that one alone too, but it's a very good nitrogen fixer from the tropics. Here's another one that we put in of the Napier grass. These came from A Natural Farm near Orlando. If you haven't visited Luke over there at A Natural Farm, he and his wife are great people, great place to get food forest plants. And I was able to get some of this there, and it's really kicking. And that is for this plum tree here. This is Paulownia tomentosa, the world's fastest growing hardwood. It's about 30 foot tall right now. I just took off the lower branches. It's a fantastic carbon producer, but it can be quite invasive, grows extremely fast. But we're using it as a chop and drop here. This is a mayhaw that we chopped and dropped around. And then over here, this is a pawpaw. And get a lot of biomass out of these things. So might as well use it. Even the invasives can be useful if you are really, really careful with them, which I am extremely, extremely careful with invasives. That's a popcorn tree right there. That was here when we started. One day it's gonna come out of here. But other than that popcorn tree being left alone, I'm extremely, extremely careful with invasives. It's raining again and there's thunder out here, so I may have to just bring this video to a close. But at least I got some chop and drop in. You want to do this when it's really wet, not when it's dry. If you do this when it's dry, you're just trapping the dryness in. You want to trap moisture in and be throwing stuff on the ground when the ground is wet, and keep that moisture in there and get that stuff rotting down and being beautiful. Thank you all for joining me. Sorry for the gap in my video making there. We have a wonderful little blessing, a little baby girl, and just haven't been able to get around to making a video. And even this video almost got rained out, but it's perfect time to demonstrate chop and drop. If you want to get some food forest plants, you can come check out our new farm and garden store, Atmore Farm and Garden, and I'll put a link to that below. And you can check out my book, Create Your Own Florida Food Forest, which is full of illustrations. It's beautiful. If you're in Alabama, Mississippi, Florida Panhandle, all the way down to South Florida, there's going to be something in it useful for you, even though it's targeted towards the state of Florida, both north, south, and central. And I better get inside before the mosquitoes eat me. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you all next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.